Can you beat Resident Evil 2 knife only? This means my heart belongs to the knife. I'm not even allowed to look at any other weapon without making the knife jealous. Is it even possible to get past Mr. X with only the knife? Can I even beat all bosses with just the knife? We started our journey on my bike. I was heading to Raccoon. God, did I hate that city. I was only going over there so I could meet my brother. I don't know what would make a human being want to live in such a terrible place. I ran out of gas and I stopped off at a gas station and nobody was there. I decided to run to the back to see if I can find someone, but the only thing I found was a thing. It looked undead, so I decided to run past it. Once I got out of the store, I met Leon. He was a cop just like my brother. He offered to take me to the police station, saying that's a safe location, but I was only heading over there to see if I can find my brother there. I decided to ask Leon about my brother since he was a cop, but he didn't know anything about Chris. This is another reason why I hate Raccoon. The moment Leon and I stopped, a psychopath nearly crashed into us. People in Raccoon can't drive. He forced me and Leon to split up and I made it to the police station. I locked the front gate of the police station. The first thing I had to do was to find the STARS office, since Chris was a STARS member. So once I saw a keep out sign, I figured STARS privacy, keep out. So I went towards the keep out sign. After that, I saw a man get split in two, picked up a book, and the zombie was all over me. I ended up being saved by Marvin, but unfortunately the STARS office was not that direction. I asked Marvin about my brother and he told me that Chris went on vacation. When I asked him where, he said somewhere in Europe. Marvin told me that the book had a way out of the police station and he gave me my first knife. This is where the challenge begins. I ran around a police station looking for the 3 medallions and literally I spent most of the time avoiding conflict. I even made sure not to wake up the big zombie inside the library. I found all 3 of the medallions and I opened the passageway. I wanted to take Marvin with me, but he told me he was a lost cause and to leave him behind. Now we get to the first boss fight. I was walking through this hallway when I began to hear child footsteps. I decided not to pay any mind to it until I found the little brat. When I first saw her, I tried to be nice to her. I even offered her help, but then she said, "The fuck you say to me, you little shit!" I was about to beat that little girl's ass. How dare she say I needed help when I was the one offering help? Then I was attacked by this thing. I took out the knife Marvin gave me and I proceeded to beat it like it was a black man and I was a police officer. Coming into Burgundy 1, I actually thought it was going to be hard since I had a few knives, but I heard that it was easy to beat him knife only. I just didn't know how easy it was. He literally only hit me twice and I beat him first try. The little shit let down a ladder and I started walking to the parking lot. The little shit was following me and once I made it to the parking lot, I realized I needed a key card to open the parking lot gate. Then the sheriff came. I was happy to see the sheriff because if anyone had a key card, it would be him. And if anyone knew where Chris was at, it would be him. Then the bastard pulled out a gun and he told the little shit to tie me up. Then when I asked the man where Chris was at, he completely ignored me. He was only focusing on the little shit. Then he grabbed the little shit and as he walked away, he was saying things like, "I know you're gonna come after her." He wanted me to go save the little shit. Like I cared about her. I was so upset because now I'm gonna have to find my own key pass. I decided to go to where the sheriff came from and I found an elevator. The power was off and once I turned on the elevator, this is the moment where I felt like a G. After turning on the power, I forgot a liquor was present. The liquor attacked me and I used the knife to get it off of me. Not willing to lose that knife, I killed the liquor with another knife that was in my inventory. I killed a liquor knife only. I felt like a genius at that moment. I went back to the elevator and I made it to the sheriff's office. In the sheriff's office, I decided to look through his papers, thinking I was gonna find something about Chris's location. Then I remembered something that Chris told me. If no one knows where he's at, there will be one person who will know where he is. I made it to the roof and this is where the helicopter crash was at. From there, I let the fire out and a man moved the helicopter by himself. I was so impressed by this feat. But when the man rushed at me, I had no choice but to run. I was not about to fight that thing. I went to the clock tower and I picked up the last electronic piece. From there, the sheriff called and he really wanted me to go save that little girl. I mean, he didn't say it outright, but he was implying it. He was saying things like, I know you're gonna come here to save her. I don't know why he think I care about that little girl, but I didn't. Then he said, if you're not gonna come here for Sherry, then I'll give you another reason to come here. I will give you information on where Chris is. Now, I had a reason. I had to go to the orphanage. From there, I went back to the parking lot. The guy in the fedora came again and I ran for my life. I went to the orphanage, searched around the orphanage, and I found submachine gun bullets. And from there, I figured the nuns must have been threatening the kids at gunpoint. Then I ran into the sheriff and the sheriff gave birth. From there, I decided to go to where the sheriff came from because curiosity. I wish I haven't because the only thing that was there was a little brat. Then the man in the fedora came and I ran for my life, completely leaving the little girl. Then I made it to an elevator. Surprisingly, she was right behind me. As the elevator door closed, the man in the fedora started forcing the door open. Then he said, Chris, your brother, I know where he is. He's in Paris. He's researching the umbrella at their Paris lab. You should go there. After he finished that sentence, the thing killed him. Then it attacked the elevator and the elevator began to fall. As the elevator fell, I began to think about the friend. That guy was the friend that Chris was talking about. We landed and I was passing out. Then the little girl, she went to go get help. I woke up to a woman. She was the little girl's mother. When I asked her, where's Sherry? Then she said, you shouldn't be worried about my daughter. She had a point. I shouldn't be worried about Sherry. I should be worrying about my next move. After all, Sherry wasn't important to me. I had to find a way out of the sewer. Then I walked, and the only thing I can think about was the kid. I didn't care about her, and she wasn't my problem. But why couldn't I get out of my head? Then I saw the kid. She was trapped, and part of me admitted that it was lonely without the kid. So I had to save her. Not much happened in the sewer since I spent most of the time avoiding conflict like MHA fans avoid showers. And the rats weren't even the problem this time either. Now Burgundy 2. I had to open the door to get to Sherry, but there was no electricity. So the first thing to do was to turn on the power. After turning on the power, I was attacked by that thing again and I ran. You know, I would love to say that he was easy. I beat him first try, but that would be a lie and that's what I thought I was going to say when I got to the section. But he was hard. He was the second hardest boss of this entire journey. I was shocked how hard he was. I died so many times that it's crazy, but at the end of the day, I ended up winning. I made it to Sherry and she was on the ground. I picked her up and her eye, it was pink eye. Then her mother said she's infected with a special kind of pink eye and there is nothing she can do. But she froze for a second. She must have been thinking. Then she said, this pink eye is developed at Umbrella Lab. If you go over there, you'll be able to find a cure for this pink eye. Just get on the tram and from there, it will take you to the nest. Okay, so the lab was basically the same since I spent most of the time avoiding conflict. Now, you can consider this next section a pass or a fail, but I consider it a pass since I ended up deleting the knife because I used something other than a knife. Okay, so after I picked up the third key pass, the tree branches were basically the jackasses of this section. I ended up having to using a flash grenade on one of the tree branches because I couldn't get past them, and every speed run I watched, and by every speed run I mean just one, the person used a knife. And I didn't have no knives on me because I rarely carried the knife with me, but I wish I did. Now you could consider that a fail because I ended up using something other than a knife, but I did delete a knife from my inventory as if I used the knife for that section. And I needed every knife I can get. Okay, so I searched around the lab a little more and I ended up finding a cure. I started walking back to Sherry and that thing came again. Then Sherry's mother came out and she began to shoot at the thing. After the thing fell, she said that thing was her husband. That thing was Sherry's father. It got back up and I knew what I had to do. I had to end it for good. Now this boss was hard as hell. I knew all I had to do was go for his eyes, but I didn't know how hard it was going to be. At first, the only eye I could get was get the leg eye until I came up with a strategy to get his eye on his arm. From there, I had to watch a YouTuber named Dante Ravioli, and now I knew how to get his back eye. Once he picked up something, I attack his back eye. But I still couldn't avoid his attacks. I ended up watching another YouTuber named Kumchik, and He was using a handgun to move around, so I decided to try it out to see if it works, and I don't know if it's just me, but Claire moved a little faster with her handgun, but this doesn't mean the boss was any easier. I was so happy once I finally got to beat him knife only. When I looked at how long it took me nearly an hour to beat Birkin G3. I went back to Sherry and I gave her the cure, and her mother came and died. Sherry was sad, but we had to get out of the nest before the nest went kaboom on itself. Nothing too important happened until we made it to the train cart. I talked to Leon, wondered why he was down there, and I told him that we was getting the train ready to leave. Now we make it to the last Birkin fight. I thought it was gonna be hard just like the last one, but it wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard. We connected the train, I met back up with Leon, and we set off. Now to answer the question, can you beat Resident Evil 2 knife only? Yeah, if you do it on Claire's campaign. It may seem impossible, but it's actually not. Anyway, if you made it this far, you might as well give the video a like and think about subscribing. Also, if you have any ideas on any further challenges, you can write it down in the comment section and I'll get back to you. Anyway, I've been Tes and I'll see you on the next challenge.